Hello all. I hope you are all having a wonderful day today. Today's practice is going to be more on the gentle side, just working on getting some movement into the body and connecting our breath with our movement, one of my favorite things to do. If you happen to have a blanket or a pillow or towel or something around you that we could bring into our practice when we come into the seated portion of today to help bring under the hips to find a little bit of comfort, I would invite you to grab that now, have it close by. Otherwise, if you are ready, we will go ahead and get started. Coming down onto our backs here, keeping the palms of our feet pressing into the mat, our knees up towards the ceiling. Finding our posture here on the mat through our back body, finding some comfort here as well. And then we'll take a moment or two to bring some awareness to our breath. Perhaps by bringing one hand to our chest and one hand to our belly. And as we're taking our nice big full inhales in, making sure that we're feeling expansion in both our belly and our chest as we inhale in completely. And making sure that we're exhaling completely with each breath cycle that we take. And perhaps setting the intention here that we'll do our best to keep taking those nice big full inhales and complete exhales as we move throughout our practice here today. Taking another couple or three of those breaths here before we begin. And then next time we come into an inhale, we'll send our arms up overhead, bringing our biceps to our ears. And as we exhale, drawing our knees in towards our chest, bringing the palms of our hands to the tops of our knees. As we inhale, and we'll straighten our elbows, sending our knees away from our body slightly. Exhale, bending the elbows, drawing our knees back in towards our chest. And repeating this movement here, inhaling in as we press the knees away. Exhale, drawing the knees back in and really taking our time here, allowing our breath to guide our movement. No rushing today. Big full inhales and complete exhales. And the next time we find ourselves coming into an inhale, as we're sending the knees away from our body, we'll send our arms up overhead, biceps to ears. Exhale, drawing the knees back in, hands returning to our knees. Again, repeating this movement here a few times. If this is where you're comfortable, I would invite you to stay here. There also is the option of on the inhale, sending the feet up towards the ceiling. Wherever you feel the most comfortable today, I invite you to move there for a few more breath cycles, taking our time. We'll do one more big inhale as we send the knees away, our feet up and arms up overhead. And on that next exhale, coming back to the center, bringing our knees and the palms of our hands to our knees. As we inhale, and this time we'll send our knees all the way away until our feet are resting comfortably on the mat. And keeping our feet in line with our hip points for now. And either sending our arms out to a T here, or perhaps just resting our hands on our bellies, wherever we feel the most comfortable. We'll take a big inhale in. And as we exhale, dropping just our right knee off to the right side, opening up through that right hip. Inhaling in, we'll come back to center. And as we exhale, dropping the left knee off to the left side here. And I'm doing that one-sided butterfly wing here, and continuing that motion here. Exhaling as we drop the knee to the side. Inhaling back to center. And exhale as we drop the opposite knee out to the side. And either staying here with this motion of just one knee at a time, or perhaps when you come into that next exhale, Dropping both knees off to the side. And then inhaling back to center. And then spending some time here playing around with this, perhaps mixing it up. Sometimes just sending one knee off to the side, sometimes sending both. Maybe it feels comfortable, if it feels comfortable, to hold for a breath or two with either one leg off to the side or perhaps with both knees open. Really, whatever feels the best for you in this moment, I invite you to do. Just warming up the hips here, finding that little bit of movement, making sure that we're taking those big inhales and complete exhales, really allowing our breath to guide our movement here. And once you feel nice and even on both sides, even if you weren't counting or keeping track, just seeing if your body feels nice and even, like it's ready to be done with that movement, we'll come back to an inhale and meet in the center with our knees. And taking a moment or two here, back in the center, to breathe. And when we come into that next inhale, sending our arms up overhead, biceps to our ears. And exhale, drawing our knees back in towards our chest, bringing the palms of our hands to our knees. And then bringing the palms of our hands to the insides of our knees as we inhale, and we'll send our knees off to the sides again here. And then bringing the palms of our hands to either the backs of our thighs, our ankles, or perhaps reaching for our big toes, wherever we feel the most comfortable. We'll play around here in Happy Baby for a little bit. Maybe sending one leg up at a time, straightening through one leg slightly, and then the other. Perhaps sending both feet up towards the ceiling at the same time, maybe finding a little bit of a rocking motion. Whatever we're doing, again, just remembering to breathe. Inhale as we straighten the legs. Exhale, bending the knees. And if you feel like holding in any position, I invite you to do so. Just remember not to hold the breath. Big inhales and complete exhales. Wherever we're at, we'll take one more big inhale in. And as we exhale, bringing those knees back together, and then sending the palms of our feet all the way down till they're resting comfortably on the mat. Again, keeping our feet in line with our hip points, and then bringing our hands to our sides here as well. As we inhale and sending our hips up towards the ceiling, sending our arms up overhead, biceps to our ears. And as we exhale, bringing those hips back down to the mat, our arms returning to our sides as well with a nice soft elbow there, allowing that bend in the elbow as we come down. Inhale in, hips up towards the ceiling, arms up overhead. Exhale, returning our hips to the mat, hands to our sides. Doing that one more time here, big inhale in as we send our hips up towards the ceiling, arms up overhead. And exhale, melting the hips back to the mat, hands returning to our sides. Big inhale in as we send our arms up overhead, keeping those hips planted. And as we exhale, drawing our knees back in towards our chest, bringing the palms of our hands to the tops of our knees. As we inhale and pressing the knees away from our body just slightly here. Exhale, drawing the knees back in towards our chest. And again, repeating this movement here a few times, following your own breath, your own pace, taking our time, enjoying this movement here. Big inhales, complete exhales. And the next time we find ourselves coming into an inhale, we'll keep pressing those knees all the way away until the palms of our feet are again resting comfortably on our mat. And then picking a side, whichever side feels the best for you to roll on to today, we will do just that. And then take a breath or two here on our side. And then when ready, taking our time, nice and slow, making our way back up or not back, up into a comfortable seated position. This is where I would invite you, if you have that pillow or blanket or towel, whatever you had close by, to bring it under your hips here to help find a little bit of comfort in the seated position. If you are comfortable sitting right on the mat, I invite you to do that as well, whatever feels the best. I always love to have my hips raised up a little bit. You could even fold this blanket again, get your hips up a little bit more, really whatever feels the best for you. Finding our posture here in our seated position, having those sit bones pressing equally into the mat. And then finding our back heart alignment. It's how it was taught to me. If you imagine drawing your shoulder blades down and towards each other at the bottom points, the tops of the shoulder blades fan out, and then the points come together, like at the tip of a heart. So you have a nice little back heart in your body there, in the back of your body there. So finding that back heart alignment, sitting up nice and tall, chin parallel to the floor, taking a couple of breaths here, nice big inhales and complete exhales. And then next time we come into an inhale, we'll send our arms up overhead, biceps to our ears. And as we exhale, leaning over towards that left side, bringing our left fingertips or left palm to the mat, reaching up and over here towards the left. Inhaling in, we'll come back to center, fingertips towards the ceiling. Exhale, leaning over to that right side, right fingertips or palm to the mat. Make a nice big stretch here. Inhaling in, we'll come back to center. And as we exhale, either opening our arms out to a T or bringing them to our waist, we'll take a big inhale in. And as we exhale, twisting our chest towards that left knee, just going as far as we're comfortable going. Inhaling, and we'll come back to center. Exhale, twisting our chest towards that right knee, not going very far, trying to keep our arms nice and in line with each other here. Inhaling in, we'll come back to center, and exhale, relaxing. Moving through that again, this time with a little bit of a pause in each of those positions. Again, if this becomes too tiring, I invite you to bring your hands to your waist. When we come into that next inhale, sending our arms up overhead, biceps to ears. Exhale, leaning over to that left side, finding a little bit of a pause here, still taking those big inhales and complete exhales, pressing both our sit bones evenly into the mat. Inhaling, and we'll come back to center. Exhale over to the right side this time. Big inhales, complete exhales. Inhaling in, coming up to center, and exhaling, sending those arms out either to that T or hands to our waists. Big inhale in. And as we exhale, twisting our chest towards that left knee and holding here, and then offering that right hand to the top of that left knee. Just resting that hand here, not using it to push at all. Big inhales, complete exhales. Inhaling in, we'll come back to center. And exhale, twisting our chest towards that right knee now. And again, offering our left hand to the top of that right knee. The left fingertips just kind of resting gently behind us. Inhaling, and we'll come back to center. And exhale, bringing our hands to our knees. When we come into that next inhale, we'll pull our chest forward just slightly here, sending our gaze towards the ceiling. And as we exhale, rounding our back, sending our gaze towards the floor, making sure that we're trying our best to round in that lower back as well, not just bringing it all into our upper back. Inhaling and coming back to the front here, chest pulling forward just slightly. Exhale, rounding the back, maybe tucking that tailbone slightly here, gaze towards the floor. Then one more time, inhaling in, bringing our chest to the front, gaze towards the ceiling. And exhale, rounding that back. And then coming back to the center on an inhale. And now whichever leg you had in front, I will invite you to switch, bringing the other leg in front. And we'll work through that sequence again now with this leg in the front, finding a little bit of evening out, I suppose. So inhaling in, fingertips up towards the ceiling, biceps to ears. Exhale, left fingertips to the mat, reaching up over towards that left side. Inhaling in, coming back to center. And exhale, right fingertips to the mat, reaching over towards that right side. Inhaling in, coming back to center. And exhale, either sending those arms out to the T or hands to our waist. Taking a big inhale in. And as we exhale, twisting our chest towards that left knee, keeping those arms nice and in line with each other if we have them out. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, twisting our chest towards that right knee. Inhaling back to center. And exhale, releasing hands to our knees. One more time now with those little pauses in each of those positions. Inhale in, fingertips towards the ceiling. Exhale over to the left. Big inhales, complete exhales as we hold here for just a little bit, grounding those sit bones into the mat. Inhaling in, we'll come back to center. Exhale over to the right, right fingertips to the mat, getting that nice stretch to the left side here. Big inhales, complete exhales. Inhaling and coming back to center. Exhale, arms out to the T or to our waist. Big inhale in. And exhale, twisting towards that left knee, letting the trunk of our body do the work here. And then once here, offering that right hand to the top of that left knee, holding here and breathing. Big inhales, complete exhales. Inhaling, we'll come back to center. And exhale, twisting the trunk of our body then towards that right knee. And offering that left hand to the top of that right knee. Breathing here, not a very deep twist. Big inhales, complete exhales. And then inhaling, we'll come back to center. Big exhale, bringing our hands to our knees. And moving through a few more of those seated cat-cows here as we inhale and bringing our chest forward. Exhale, rounding our back. Inhale, coming back forward here, just pulling nice towards the front. Exhale, rounding the back. One more time here, big inhaling as we bring our chest towards the front. Gaze towards the ceiling and exhale, rounding our back, sending our gaze towards the floor. And then coming back to that nice neutral position with our spinal column. And then sending our left leg out in front of us, doing our best to keep that ankle in line, the left ankle in line with the left sit bone. And again, remembering that back heart alignment here. If you notice, once you send the leg out long, that your upper body starts to kind of round over, I would invite you to bend that knee to help free up some movement there in the back of the body. Wherever we are at, we'll take a big inhale in. And as we exhale, hinging at our hips, so not bending at our waist or rounding our back, hinging at our hips, we'll begin to walk our hands down that left leg, kind of reaching towards our calf or our ankle or our toes. And then inhaling in, walking ourselves back up. So this isn't a very deep forward fold here. I'll turn to the side so you can see me. Big inhale in. And as we exhale, again, hinging at our hips, walking our fingertips down towards that ankle, towards those toes, only going as far as we are comfortable going today. Inhaling and we'll walk ourselves back up. And then exhale one more time, coming into a little bit of a forward bend here. Taking those big inhales, complete exhales, feeling that stretch to the back of the leg, making sure it's a comfortable stretch, that nothing is hurting. And then inhaling and we'll bring ourselves back up to the front. And then bringing that left leg back in. So it's back in front of the right leg here. Coming back into our crisscrossed leg position here. And again, remembering that back heart alignment, finding that posture through the back body. We'll take a big inhale in. And as we exhale, keeping that nice posture in the back body, just slightly hinging at our hips again, finding that little bit of a forward fold here. Not a very deep forward fold, just enough. And then inhaling in, we'll bring ourselves back up nice and tall. And this time sending our right leg out long, keeping that right ankle in alignment with that right hip point. Again, finding that back heart alignment here. We'll take a big inhale in. And as we exhale, walking our fingertips, our hands down towards that right ankle, towards those right toes. If you can reach your toes, great. I cannot personally in this position. So inhaling, we'll come back up. And again, offering that bend in the knee for comfort. Exhaling, walking ourselves back down, walking our fingertips towards that ankle, towards those toes. Keeping that back heart alignment there. Inhaling, we'll come back up. And then one more time on that exhale, bringing ourselves back down. We'll hold here just a little bit, nothing too crazy. Still remembering those big inhales and complete exhales. And then inhaling in, we'll bring ourselves back up nice and tall. And this time bringing our right leg in front of our left leg and repeating that little bit of a forward fold here. Maybe I'll turn so you guys can see. Taking that big inhale. And as we exhale, hinging at those hips the best we can, walking our fingertips out in front, maybe just slightly, or perhaps just bringing the fingertips to the knees. That might help kind of keep that posture here. Big inhales, complete exhales. And then inhaling, and we'll bring ourselves back to the front. And moving through a few more of those cat-cows. So as we inhale and pulling our chest out towards the front, sending our gaze towards the ceiling. And as we exhale, rounding that back, sending our gaze towards the floor. Inhaling and bringing our chest towards the front. Gaze towards the ceiling. Exhale, rounding the back. One more time, inhaling in. Sending our gaze towards the ceiling, chest lifting out towards the front of the mat. Exhale, rounding our back, sending our gaze towards the mat. And then coming back to that neutral center position. And then making our way onto our hands and knees, coming into our tabletop here. If you have that blanket, you are more than welcome to bring it under your knees for a little bit of added comfort, or we can just bring it off to the side. I'm going to return mine to the top of my mat for when it's time to work down to our backs again. But anyway, coming onto our hands and knees here, finding where we're comfortable in our tabletop. That might mean we'd like to have a little bit of a wider stance with our palms walked up in front of our shoulder points. We might like them directly beneath our shoulder points, whatever feels the best. Tops of our feet here pressing into the mat. I like my hands walked up a little bit. As we inhale in, we'll bring the crown of our head tailbone towards the ceiling. And as we exhale, rounding our back, bringing our elbows to the mat as we send our sit bones back towards our heels here, coming into this child's pose. Inhaling in, bringing ourselves back up in through tabletop into cow pose here, crown of our head tailbone towards the ceiling. Exhale as we round the back, coming onto our elbows, sending our sit bones back towards our heels. And moving through this here a few times, really allowing your breath to guide your movement here. Inhaling as we come up into our cow. Exhale, rounding our backs as we press ourselves back into a child's pose. Taking our time. Taking those big inhales as we move forward into cow. And those complete exhales as we press back into child's. And then next time we find ourselves pressing back into child's pose, I invite you to hold there for a few breaths, maybe adjusting your child's pose position if it feels best for you. Perhaps bringing those knees out a little bit wider, big toes coming together, perhaps walking the arms out overhead a little bit more, or making a little pillow to rest your head on your forearms if you would like. Whatever feels the best for you today in this moment, I invite you to stay there, resting, breathing big inhales and complete exhales. And the next time we come into an inhale, we'll slowly bring ourselves back up, coming into that tabletop position. And then working through a few just regular cat-cows here, inhaling in as we scoop our tailbone and crown of our head towards the ceiling. Exhale, rounding the back, beginning with the tailbone first, then sending the crown of our head towards the mat there. Inhaling again, scooping the tailbone towards the mat, allowing the back to follow one vertebrae at a time, and then the crown of our head will follow. Exhale, rounding our back, melting tailbone, and then crown of forehead towards the mat. Inhale as we bring the tailbone towards the ceiling, crown of our head will follow. And the next time we find ourselves coming through that neutral position with our spinal column, we will find that moment of pause. And then crossing our ankles, pressing ourselves back into a seated position. And then centering our sit bones on the mat, bringing the palms of our feet to the mat. We'll take a big inhale in. And as we exhale, begin making our way down to that flat back position, maybe coming onto our elbows here, and then slowly lowering ourselves down so our shoulder blades are resting comfortably on the mat as well. And centering ourselves here on our mat, finding our comfortable posture, palms of our feet pressing into the mat, taking a breath or two here. And then we come into that next inhale, we'll send our arms up overhead, biceps to our ears, and exhale, drawing our knees back in towards our chest, bringing the palms of our hands to our knees. As we inhale and pressing our knees away from our body slightly, exhale, drawing our knees back in, and again repeating this motion here a few times, following your own breath, your own pace. And that next time we come into an inhale, we'll send our knees away from our body and send our arms up overhead, this time biceps to ears. Exhale, bringing everything back to the center. Continuing this motion here a few times, following your own breath, your own pace, making that decision if this is where you feel the most comfortable today and staying here. If you'd like, there is the option to straighten the legs and send the feet up towards the ceiling on the inhale. Really, whatever feels best for you though. I invite you to stay here, moving and breathing, taking our time. And the next time we find ourselves coming into that exhale, bringing our knees and the palms of our hands back together, we'll pause there. When we come to that next inhale, we'll slowly press our knees away from our body until the palms of our feet are resting comfortably on the mat. And then bringing our hands out to our sides, keeping our feet about hip distance apart as we inhale and sending our hips up towards the ceiling, arms up overhead. Exhale, melting the hips back down to the mat, returning our hands to our sides. Again, inhaling in as we send the hips up, arms up overhead. Exhale, returning the hips to the mat, hands returning to our sides as well. One more time here. Big inhale in as the hips go up, arms up overhead. And exhale, returning the hips to the mat, hands returning to our sides as well. And this time keeping our hips planted as we inhale and sending just our arms up overhead, biceps to ears. And exhale, drawing our knees in towards our chest, bringing the palms of our hands to our knees. Inhaling in as we press the knees away from our body. Exhaling as we draw the knees back in towards our chest. Again, moving through this a few times here, following your own breath, your own pace, taking our time. is the last movement we will do before we move into our resting pose. So I invite you to enjoy it, taking those big inhales and complete exhales. And then next time we find ourselves coming into an inhale, we'll keep pressing those knees all the way away until the palms of our feet are resting comfortably on the mat. And bringing our hands either to our sides or perhaps resting them on our belly and finding some comfort here on our mat before we move into our Shavasana, our resting pose. Perhaps bringing a blanket or a pillow under our head, making the decision if we'd like to keep our knees up towards the ceiling like this, or perhaps we'd like to straighten our legs, sending our feet towards the bottom edge of the mat, wherever we feel the most comfortable. I invite you to rest there. And doing a quick full body scan here, seeing if there's anywhere where maybe we're holding on to a little bit of extra tension, and doing our best to allow that tension to melt away, even if it's just for the few minutes that we're resting here today. Relaxing our shoulders away from our ears, feeling our shoulder blades melting into the mat. Relaxing our feet, our knees, our hips, our hands. Unfurling our brow. Closing our eyes if we're comfortable to do so, or perhaps softening our gaze if we would prefer. Relaxing our jaw, allowing our tongue to move away from the roof of our mouth, and allowing our breath to return to its nice, natural, neutral resting state as we lay here breathing for the next few minutes. The video will stop here, but I do invite you and encourage you to continue resting here for the next 6 to 8 minutes. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Namaste.